Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Today we're continuing a series that I like to call The Ancient Secrets, where we focus on Rosicrucian teachings, and in particular, we're going to talk about commanding cosmic help. Rosicrucians were a very interesting secret society for many years. Now they are public, but they have a large occult library and they have very interesting, detailed information that comes from limited sources in many cases. A lot of this is powerful, and we have covered it in some previous episodes on the ancient secret to attaining wealth. And what they talk about is appealing to the cosmic, commanding the cosmic, and they speak of the cosmic a little bit differently than in other spiritual disciplines. So I wanted to go over what they teach about the cosmic and how to command cosmic help, which may be very powerful and helpful if you're wanting to, for instance, manifest wealth. The cosmic and you. Whatever is lacking in your life, whatever may be among your needs, exists for you to possess, to have, and to hold, so long as you use it appropriately. There are two universal ideas connected with the practical application of psychology and metaphysics in the West that are generally associated with affirmations and with conscious or subconscious ideas held by those who are seeking the blessings of the cosmic. One of the ideas is that each one of us is at one with God, or a child of God's perfect manifestation. The other idea is that abundant supply of the cosmos is at our disposal, or the blessings of God are mine. With both or either one of these ideas as a fundamental belief, it is natural for us to feel that suffering and pain, disease and ill health, poverty, or the lack of necessities in life are not only essentially wrong, but due entirely to some trick of the mortal mind or some lack of realization of divine or cosmic contact. If it were true that ill health and suffering or disease were the result of some mental trick of the mortal mind or some aberration of the mortal mind's memory of its divine attunement, then we would be justified in believing that it would be necessary only to untrick the mind or to establish a conscious realization of divine attunement in order to cleanse the body or the consciousness of all suffering, disease, and pain. In other words, if all pain and suffering were the result of some false reasoning on the part of the mind, and both the cause and the manifestation of disease and pain were the reactions of a false belief within the mortal mind alone, then it would be logical to conclude that the cleansing of the mind's conceptions and the repeated affirmation that disease and pain do not exist would alter the conditions and leave one free from all suffering. Such is not the case, fortunately. I say fortunately, even though on the face of the matter it seems that it would be a very fortunate thing if all disease and suffering were the result of mere mistaken beliefs in the mortal mind, for that would seemingly leave healing and health easily attainable. But it is fortunate that such is not the case, for that would eventually demonstrate the superiority of the dominion of mortal mind over human will, or over the fundamental and natural laws of the universe, and that cannot be, for humanity is ever and anon subject to natural laws and spiritual laws, all of which are laws of God. We cannot change, regulate, or modify, least of all negate and set aside, any of the natural laws or any of the spiritual laws. We must abide by them. But we have the will, and with it the privilege and power of using natural law and spiritual law to regulate our lives. We must abide by these laws and either cooperate with them or run counter to them. Nevertheless, we are ever affected by them, and our hope and salvation from disease, pain, and suffering, poverty, and discomfort lie in cooperating with natural and spiritual laws and applying them to our own advancement and perfection, rather than running counter to them. Disease and suffering, poverty and discomfort are invariably the result of the violation of natural or spiritual laws. The sufferer or the victim of circumstances may not always be the one who has violated the law, for it is true that unto the third or fourth generation will the law make itself manifest. But regardless of the cause and regardless of who violated the laws, the sufferer therefrom and the victim thereof has it within his or her power to adjust the conditions by directing in his or her behalf the operation of other natural and spiritual laws and living in harmony with them. It is perfectly true that as human beings we are the highest expression of God's creation. It is also true that being created in God's spiritual image, we are children of divine consciousness and an intimate part of God's own being. Therefore, it is more than a mere logical conclusion that we are children of love, perfectly created, and having within us the creative powers and the essential goodness and divinity of God's own consciousness. But this alone is not sufficient to prevent the development of disease within our bodies or to keep us continually healthy and happy, regardless of our own voluntary actions and our methods of living and thinking. We may create a perfect piece of machinery, and if it is misused or if it is neglected or damaged, it will cease to be the perfect thing it was or could be. It is useless to argue the point as to whether God also created evil and disease, suffering, pain, and poverty as the opposites of all that is good. The fact is that such things do exist, and what we should be concerned with in any practical study of metaphysics or ontology is the cause of their existence in our own affairs, in our own environments, or within our own bodies. Regardless of whether God created the dark night as well as the bright day, we know that the night is caused by the absence of light, and we know likewise that light will dispel darkness. We know these things because they are demonstrations of natural law and spiritual law, and we have come to realize that to affirm in the darkness that there is no darkness results in no coming forth of light. Mystics may have their own symbolical interpretations of light and metaphysical understanding of darkness, but such mystics do not allow their symbolical light to become a material thing, nor their metaphysical darkness to become such an equivocal thing that in the midst of actual darkness they would affirm the existence of light while denying the existence of its opposite. Mystics know that there is but one thing that will dispel darkness, and that is light. And they know that there is but one thing that will affirm the light, and that is the actual light itself. So it is that a practical mystic trained in the Rosicrucian principles is aware of the fact that all disease and suffering have resulted from the violation of natural laws or the failure to abide by natural laws through a voluntary disobedience of their authority. To return to the familiar toothache, we may say the tooth aches because of some cause within the tooth. The cause is a diseased condition of the tooth or the gums surrounding the tooth. The diseased condition is a result of the violation of some law of nature. The violation was not a metaphysical one, a mystical one, nor a mere trick of the mortal mind in believing that it had violated some law. It is difficult for people to imagine that which they have never experienced nor realized. The mind that has never realized the agony of a toothache cannot conceive or imagine it and produce, through its imagination, a synthetic demonstration. The mortal mind can be conscious of a toothache only through having the experience. The mortal mind may give a false importance to the toothache or may attribute to it a mistaken sense of authority, and it may even credit the toothache with the right to enslave its victim. But it cannot create that toothache, nor can it negate it out of existence. The ache is a pain, and the pain is the result of a cause, and the mortal mind cannot create the cause, nor can it remove the cause. As we have said in the previous chapter, the Eastern mystics have used affirmations and their will power to prevent the mortal mind from giving undue power and authority to the ache or its ability to enslave them. They have learned how to negate the mortal mind's acceptance of a false belief in the power of pain to enslave them, but they have never misapplied their correct understanding of the use of such a negative affirmation to the imbecilic practice of positively affirming the non-existence of the pain itself. As Rosicrucians and practical mystics, with our feet firmly on the ground during our earthly existence, and ever conscious of the material laws as well as the spiritual laws, we use our will in directing the natural creative forces within the body and throughout the universe to remove the cause of pain and to cure the toothache by curing the condition that resulted from the violation of some natural law. As we have intimated, this is practical mysticism. It is reasonable, rational, and sound in every way. It neither denies the existence of God and God's means and methods, nor does it aggrandize the material part of a human being and make that superior to the spiritual part of our being. An abundant supply does exist, not only in the cosmic, but throughout all of nature. God has provided bountifully for all the needs and most of the luxuries required or desired by every human being. These constitute the rich blessings that God promises all creatures and which God has so beautifully provided throughout all the ages. Whatever is lacking in your life, whatever may be wanting among your needs, exists for you to possess, to have, and to hold, so long as you use it appropriately. What you lack is not in your possession or at your disposal because you have not attuned yourself to it or have not attracted it to yourself. Affirming that you have it when you do not have it will not attract or manifest it, nor will the belief that since you do not have it, you cannot have it affect the fact that you still may have it if you earn it, deserve it, or attract it, and bring it into your consciousness. All things that we may require are ours essentially and potentially, but they may not be ours actually because of some principle, some law exercised by us or denied by us, which withholds the realization of the things that we lack. To affirm, therefore, that since we are perfectly created and perfect in the image of God, we shall have no disease, regardless of how we think, live, or act, is as inconsistent as saying that regardless of the fact that it is the middle of the night, and by natural and divine law the sun does not shine, the sun is still shining because we have affirmed that the sun exists and the darkness is not. And to affirm that because there is an abundant supply for all, and essentially every blessing and bounty of God is at our disposal, we therefore have everything and lack nothing, while at the time we are objectively conscious of our needs, is simply proclaiming a falsehood and hoping that our own predicament will be magically transformed by a formula that is as unscientific and unsound metaphysically as anything can be. Therefore, in a practical way, I shall attempt to show you how we may attract and bring into our existence the things that we lack and which our divine perfection and an abundant supply have established for us. Commanding cosmic help. How can I put my interests and talents together to make a living, provide a necessary service to others, and make the world a better place? Real mystics know that they must work through the cosmic and with cosmic law in order to bring about the realization of their conceived and visualized dreams and plans. They never forget cosmic law and never fail to take the cosmic into partnership in all their plans and desires. However, there's a great difference between commanding cosmic help and demanding cosmic help. One may command cosmic help through one's worthiness, sincerity, loyalty, and devotion to cosmic ideals, but one can never demand anything from the cosmic, for the attitude of demanding would immediately preclude any consideration on the part of the cosmic for the wishes and desires of the petitioner. Still, we read in many popular forms of applied psychology and even in much of the so-called mystical literature of the day how one may demand of the cosmic or through the cosmic the realization, mediate, and immediate of those things greatly desired. Such an idea is responsible for many failures experienced by thousands in trying to bring about concrete demonstrations of mystical processes. Before giving you the definite methods for bringing about certain hopes and ambitions in your life, I wish to complete these preliminary lessons by devoting the next few pages to a proper explanation of how you may secure the cooperation of the cosmic and how you may avoid interfering with the cosmic methods for cooperation. When one seeks for cooperation of the cosmic in bringing about a realization of some plan, one assumes that the cosmic can help. And while it knows how to help and is unlimited in its means and methods, it would be almost futile to ask the cosmic to help in many of the problems which we must solve. It is natural to think that no one would appeal to the cosmic for help in regard to a proposition or plan which can be easily worked out by the individual independently of the cosmic. Surely we do not appeal to the cosmic for help every moment of the day in mastering the minor routine problems of life. We have learned about our own possibilities as individuals because of the cosmic creative powers resident within us, and realize that most of our daily tasks and passing problems are solved or mastered without appeal to the cosmic. This is precisely as it should be, and as God and the cosmic intended it to be. We appeal to the cosmic only when our plans seem to meet insurmountable obstacles, or when our efforts and endeavors have been frustrated, and the efforts and endeavors of others around us seem to be of no avail. The mystic knows that he or she should not bring to the cosmic, which is the court of last appeal in a mystical sense, any problem that can be solved without its help. We must not forget the ancient injunction that by the sweat of our brows shall we labor and produce the necessary things of life. Those who labor diligently and persistently in an effort to produce and bring about the things they need in life meet with the greatest successes, while those who dream and plan and expect the cosmic to labor for them in the fulfillment of their dreams are doomed to failure. Yet that is precisely the situation in the world today, as a result of the mistaken information that has been taught and disseminated by so-called practical psychologists and New Thought teachers. As stated above, cosmic help can be secured and should be secured at such times as the individual is incapable of coping with the situation, or the situation is one which is beyond human control, or of such a general nature or intense nature that too many problems or points are involved for one mind to master. Assuming, therefore, that the cosmic can help through unlimited means and methods at its disposal, we must realize at once that any attempt to tell the cosmic how to bring about the desires or plans uppermost in our minds is not only an imposition on the intelligence and universal wisdom of the cosmic, but it is one of the most frequent and positive reasons for the negative results that are so often attained. Let me state this point again, in another way, so as to give it the utmost emphasis. Since the cosmic has unlimited ways and means of carrying out anything that it decides to do, wishes to do, or agrees to do, it is inconsistent and injurious to the success of the plans to tell the cosmic how to work out the solution. However, this is precisely what thousands are doing in every attempt they make to secure cosmic cooperation, and I hope that this particular lesson will prevent anyone from ever forgetting the fundamental principles involved. Here is an example that demonstrates how one should go about securing cooperation with the cosmic. We will begin by explaining the ineffective approach and then demonstrate the correct and effective way of achieving one's goal. A mother and father and their 2 children want to move to another part of the country, in this case California, where employment and educational opportunities are much better than where they are presently living. In order to do this, they must sell their home and surrounding acreage so that they will have enough money to buy another home and establish themselves in the region where they plan to move. And the mother and father both need to find employment in the new area where they want to live. They have secured the services of a real estate agent, and their home has been on the market for many months. But so far there have been no buyers. After many months of trying to sell their home, 3 prospective buyers eventually emerge. The first possible buyer would purchase the family's home immediately for cash if he could just get his case settled in court, which would bring him enough money to buy the property outright. However, the case is in the hands of a referee who delays in rendering a decision in the case. Prospect number 2 would also buy the property immediately, except that her business is in the hands of a receiver, and she is waiting for cash to come as a result of a settlement among creditors and others. The situation is complicated by the fact that this person's recent business bankruptcy could well prevent her from securing a mortgage to finance buying the home. Prospect number 3 is a young person without any credit history who genuinely wants to buy the property, but who needs to secure a loan from his parents in order to do so, and the parents are not terribly enthusiastic about loaning their son the money or co-signing on a mortgage. The family appeals to the cosmic for help in this situation. The father and mother concentrate on the cosmic and visualize that they would like to have made manifest or what they would like to see come about, namely the sale of their home. Following what they believe to be the most effective way of concentrating on what they want, they project to the cosmic mind their requests and demands, which go something like this. We want to sell our home so that we can move our family to California and buy a home and start life anew. However, we cannot sell our home unless one of these 3 prospects secures the money to buy it. Therefore, please help prospect number 1 to have the referee make a favorable decision. Or in the case of prospect number 2, please have the receiver bring about a settlement to the person's business. Or in the case of prospect number 3, have the parents of the young man make a decision to loan their son the money or co-sign on the mortgage so that he can buy our home. The father and mother then concentrate upon visualize the referee looking over the legal papers and reaching a decision to release the money needed by the first prospect. Then they visualize the receiver working over his or her papers and coming to a favorable decision for prospect number 2. They then visualize the parents of the young man deciding to loan him the money or co-sign on a mortgage so that he can buy their home. After spending half an hour in concentration and visualization, the mother and father feel they have made perfectly plain to the cosmic just what they want, and the family waits day after day for the cosmic to bring about a solution to their problem, but nothing happens. What could possibly be wrong? Let us examine the family's problem and see whether or not they have been doing the most effective thing to realize their dream. In the first place, when this family consulted me, and I have selected this case from an actual occurrence, they impressed upon me very strongly the fact that their great desire was to sell their home to one of these 3 prospects so they could get the money and move out west and begin life anew. That was the uppermost thought in their minds, and all their concentrating their visualizations and their appeals to the cosmic. However, when you think about it, what was their original goal? I'm sure you will agree that after all is said and done, what the family wanted least of all was to sell their home and get the money. In fact, the sale of their property and the securing of the money was not the vital issue or the real thing they desired most. What the family really wanted was to move out west and start life over again. I demonstrated this by asking them, suppose you didn't sell your home, but had an offer from a firm in California to come out there and work in one of the state's new expanding industries, and this offer was accompanied by a promise to pay your moving expenses and help in relocating and finding a nice home. Would you accept that offer? They immediately replied, that is exactly what we want. We would gladly accept that offer. So you see, the real desire of the family's hopes and dreams was not to sell their home. However, from their limited material earthly point of view, there was only one way by which they could move to California and start life anew, and that was by selling their property and using the money to carry out their plans in the new location. The mother and father never for one moment considered the possibility that the cosmic might have other ways of bringing about a fulfillment of their desires. In other words, their desire was to move to California. So they had thought about it, reasoned it out, and from their point of view, they had decided arbitrarily and finally that there was only one way for them to succeed with this plan, and that was by selling their home. Then they proceeded in all their thinking, planning, and concentrating to use this arbitrary decision, this final conclusion, this reasoning and judgment as being the ultimate, the perfect, the only way to bring about the realization of their goal. Having once decided on this plan, they proceeded to tell the cosmic that it should or must accept their decision, their plan, their solution, and work it out for them. Certainly, that is an imposition upon the cosmic, and at the same time, it was the worst thing they could do to bring about the realization they expected. In other words, the family was appealing to the cosmic to sell their home instead of appealing to the cosmic to help them move to California and start a new life. Or to further illustrate their dilemma, it could be said that the family was demanding of the cosmic, we want your help in bringing about a realization of our plans. But listen, cosmic, we have decided how it should be done and how it can come about and how you should assist. We are telling you just what we want you to do, and we want our plans fulfilled in just this way and no other way. We don't want you to provide us with some unexpected money so that we can fulfill our plans. Nor do we desire that you have any money come to us through a will or a gift, through any other channel except through the sale of our home. We want you to give us the money solely through the sale of our property. We are not asking you that you have any company or organization offer us positions or a new home in the West. We want to go there with our children and find jobs and a place to live, and find these in our own way and bring about the goal of our plan in the way that we have decided. We do not want you to do anything unique or original that we haven't already thought of, but simply follow our instructions, and then we will know that the cosmic is our partner. Now, I will leave it to the common sense of my reader as to whether or not such reasoning and such appealing to the cosmic is apt to bring the desired results or not. The proof of my contention lies in the fact that after I had talked with this family and pointed out the limitations that they were placing on the solution of their problem and the dictatorial attitude they had taken toward the cosmic, they went home and proceeded to concentrate in the correct and most effective manner, after which they succeeded in having their hopes and dreams fulfilled abundantly. The family concentrated on the following picture. They saw themselves traveling, not necessarily by automobile or airplane or even train, but nevertheless traveling to California. The father and mother pictured themselves finding good jobs, excellent positions, which would make the best use of their capabilities and provide good salaries and other benefits. They saw themselves in a nice and comfortable home without attempting to visualize all the sundry details of such a home, such as whether the home had a porch or no porch, whether it had a tile roof or a stucco exterior, whether it was 1 or 2 stories in height, with a big yard or a small yard, and so on. But a home nevertheless, comfortable and cozy, and in accordance with what they actually needed. This is all that they had in mind when they concentrated and appealed to the cosmic. They were absolutely indifferent as to all the little details, such as exactly where in California they would live, whether they would move right away or in a few weeks or months, exactly how they would travel there, and specifically what kind of jobs they would have once they arrived there. All of these minor details and ways and means they left entirely to the cosmic. What was the result of this change in their approach to the cosmic? A friend of the family who had casually contacted an acquaintance in California about this family's desires received news that there was a job opening in a new printing plant that was being established in California. And since the father in the family had worked as a press operator and a production manager in this particular industry, and knew from firsthand experience all that needed to be done in setting up a new printing plant, there was a possibility of a position for him available in California. Upon hearing about this job possibility, the father immediately contacted the management of the printing plant, and they were thrilled to find someone with his experience to help them get the printing plant up and running. He was offered the position, plus an advancement of salary and a housing allowance sufficient to bring him and the family to the West. After our initial conversation, the mother in the family, who was a nurse, had realized that there was a nationwide skilled nursing shortage, and she was sure that she would be able to find a new position in California. Through a professional organization to which she belonged, she was provided with a list of available nursing positions in hospitals throughout California. There would be a position open for her. She had no doubt about this in her mind. In less than 2 weeks, the family was on their way to California, eagerly anticipating their new jobs and new life on the West Coast. Precisely 3 weeks after they had moved to California and were becoming settled in their new jobs, the children in their new school and the family in their new temporary home, a real estate firm in their hometown notified the family that a local developer, heretofore not even considered as a prospect for buying the family's property, had made a good cash offer for the home and property, and that the offer had come out of the blue. Hence, the family found itself comfortably settled in a new home, in a new position, in a new part of the country, with money from the sale of their home to apply to the purchase of a new home in California. All of the family's hopes and dreams had been fulfilled, and even more, and yet not one detail of the realization was similar to what they had been concentrating upon in their original attempts to demand of the cosmic its cooperation. In another illustration, a woman whose husband died was suddenly thrown into the situation of needing to earn an income to maintain her home and support herself and her 16-year-old son so that he could finish high school, go on to college, and prepare himself for a career. Before appealing to the cosmic for help, she quickly reasoned as to how she could bring about her hopes, and she decided that the only thing she could do to earn an income would be to sell flowers on the street with the help of her son, who would pick up and deliver the flowers to various locations where she would sell them. She had reached this decision by selling flowers by analyzing herself and determining, as she explained to me, that since she had no business training, and it had been many years since she had worked at a job outside the home, there was no other way for her to earn an income. In other words, after 15 or 20 minutes of self-analysis, she was fully convinced that she knew all about herself, knew all she could possibly do in this world to contribute to its needs or to produce anything of usefulness. I might say in passing that this is one of the big mistakes a great many persons make in connection with their personal problems. They attempt to decide what possibilities they have in this world. They believe themselves to be the best judges, even better than the cosmic or God. And whatever conclusion they may reach regarding their capabilities and limitations, it is always ultimate, final, supreme, and quite definite. It never dawns upon the minds of these persons that there may be a higher and better judge, or there may be an intelligence that knows better than any living being just what they can do in life. It never seems to come to the minds of these persons that each one of us has a certain mission to fulfill in life, that in order to fulfill this mission there are various means by which it may be brought about, and that God or the cosmic may know more about this than we do. However, the woman proceeded to concentrate day after day for several weeks, asking the cosmic to help her sell flowers, which were of inferior quality, because of her inexperience and lack of a source for the best quality flowers. Her poor son was neglecting his studies and tiring out his young body, trying to deliver and help her sell these flowers from place to place. Together they had very little success, and as the family funds became exhausted and the onset of cold weather threatened to severely limit her street sales, the woman came to me in desperation and explained her problem. She wanted to know how to get the cosmic to help her sell flowers. All she could think of was the sale of the flowers and the continuance of her efforts in that direction. When I asked her why she wanted to sell flowers, she said it was because she wanted to earn an income. When I asked her why she wanted to earn an income, she said it was so she could maintain her home and provide for her son's education. When I asked her why she wanted to maintain a home and provide for her son's education, she said it was because she wanted him to finish high school, go on to college, and complete his education so that he would be successful in life. So we see that after her real problem was not that of selling flowers, but of maintaining her home and providing an education for her son. But that was not the picture she had presented to the cosmic. That was not the picture she had concentrated upon. She had been asking the cosmic to help bring about the ultimate desires of her heart, but at the same time she had been telling the cosmic that it could be done only through selling flowers. Since the cosmic probably did not agree with that plan or that decision, it did not cooperate. It had ways and means of its own in bringing about her desires, but since the woman had limited the cosmic's cooperation to the strategy of selling flowers, the cosmic offered no other forms of help. After explaining to this woman how to concentrate upon the real desire of her heart and how to refrain from thinking about the method the cosmic should use in working out her problem, it was brought to her a manifestation. Our talk changed her perspective, and she realized how she could put her real talents and gifts fully to use. With proper training geared to her talents and abilities, she found a job where she could engage in much more rewarding and constructive work than she ever could have done selling flowers, and her son was able to continue his education and eventually go on to college. The solution to her problems was one she had never conceived of, and one that had never been suggested to her. Here was the perfect answer to the question, how can I put my interests and talents together to make a living, provide a necessary service to others, and make the world a better place? These illustrations should make plain to you what I mean by concentrating on the ultimate desire of your dreams, the eventual hope in your plans, without limiting the cosmic to ways and means of bringing it about. That concludes the writing from H. Spencer Lewis on commanding cosmic help. This is really, really important, and I'd like to go back to my episode on winning the lottery. I've also created a meditation which might be released by now. But the key point is, a lot of people focus on winning the lottery so they can have their dreams come true. And it's like they're demanding the cosmic, give me this money through the lottery only. And the cosmic can't help. You have to live in the end of your desire. And every time when we focus on just that true thing that we want or desire, the universe is just amazing in the ways that it can bring it to you. You could never imagine the ways that can bring it to you. It's always some unusual or really amazing thing. But if you're focusing on the how and you're limiting the universe to that how, you will probably never get it. I have people that say, hey, I got to win this lawsuit. This lawsuit is the only way I can make it. I've looked at every possible way and there's nothing else I can do. I have to win this lawsuit. They will never win that lawsuit. Or if they do, it won't be with the aid of commanding cosmic help. Cosmic wants you to have that final goal in that end. Now, Neville tells us we can imagine exactly the experience that we want to have. But in my own case, it's the feeling and experience at the end that we're manifesting. I see this a lot with people that try to manifest a specific person. They want only that person, and that's the person they want, and they want it to happen in this particular way. When I manifested my wife, I did not imagine what she would look like. I had a feeling for the type of person I wanted to be with, and that's what happened to me. I let the universe figure out the hows and the means of it. I did not demand and isolate a specific person that I wanted to be with. And I think that if you are demanding a specific way for things to go, as they gave in this example of the people selling their house, maybe go back and rethink, what is it ultimately that you want to do? And maybe that will help you to reach that final goal that you're trying to reach. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.